All right, happy Tuesday, everyone. Today we're going to be looking at lesson 26, session number 2 or day 2, and we're going to look at adding on the number line. So we're going to practice what we did yesterday with adding on the number line. So let's get started.
Okay, so first we're going to make sense of a problem. It says Sharon buys a plant that is 25 inches tall. Then the plant grows 13 more inches. How tall is the plant now? Use the number line to solve the problem. Okay, so let's break this down first, okay? The first thing that I'm going to do is write an equation so that I know what I'm trying to solve, okay? I know that Sharon bought a plant, and when she bought it, it started at 25 inches. But then it grew more, so did it get bigger?
Yes.
What kind of math is that then?
That is adding.
Okay, so 25 plus 13, and then it says how tall is the plant now? So we need to figure out this question mark, right?
Right.
Okay. Now we have two ways that we can use a number line at least to solve this problem. So we're going to model both ways really quick, okay? Let me get my little pencil first. Okay, the first way is to hop. If we were going to hop, what number would we start on? Let's look at the equation. What number should we start on, Mrs. Walker?
Well, we have to start on 0, but then we're going to end on 25. Because that's the first part of our problem, right? So we're going to hop from 0 to 25.
You could do that, or you could start on 25, right? And just know that you already went from 0 to 25. Like if you look at the equation, if we're just hopping instead of drawing lines, I think we could just start at 25 because that's the first number in the equation.
So either way, you know, for some of us that need that visual, you could go 0 to 25. So you knew you took your 25 hops. Then now we're going to go 13 more.
Okay, so you could start here. And then would you want to hop a big hop first or to the next 10 first?
I would probably go to 10 first.
Okay, so what is the next 10?
So the next 10 would be 35.
Oh no, you want to hop 10.
Yeah, I want to just hop one huge 10, one big 10.
Okay, right? So she's doing her big hop first. Okay, yeah. So 25 to 35. How big of a hop is that?
So that is 10. And then I need to go 3 more because it's 13, not just.
So her hops have to equal this number, right, guys? Her hops have to equal the second number that we're adding. So 10, 11, 12, 13. So this is going to be the answer because the two number partners up here, 10 plus 3 equal 13. So let's see where we are. 35, 36, 37, 38.
Yep.
So how big is the plant now?
So the plant is now 38 inches.
38. And she has that label, inches. Okay, so everybody got that? Mm-hmm. Okay, the second way to solve the problem is to just draw lines, okay? So you could start at 0 and you look at the equation. Your first number is 25. So you're gonna draw a line from 0 all the way to 25, okay? Mm-hmm. Now your second line is 13. So you're gonna draw your next line to be 13 more than 25. So I'm gonna actually draw that down here so that we can see this line and then see this line better, okay? So if I start here at 25, I know that when I draw to 30, that's 5 more, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so now I'm at 30. I know if I go to 35, 5 plus 5 is 10. There's 10 more. Now I'm gonna do 3 more. There, 10, 11, 12, 13. And when I look here, I am at the number 38. So this line was 25, and this line was 13. And wherever this line ended, that's your answer, 38. So this way is new for us, isn't it, Mrs. Walker? But it actually works just as well, right? The
Yep.
only thing I think that could possibly happen is that you're not super careful when you're watching because you're not hopping and landing on the lines. So you want to be careful that way. But otherwise, I think it works pretty efficiently.
And just
Okay.
another strategy for us to have in our toolbox. All right, so this one just shows us what we just did, right? We drew a line from 0 to 25, and then just right above it. So instead of doing it below like Mrs. Croft did, they just went right above, and then they went from 25 to 13. So that's just another way for us to do it, is just drawing them in.
Okay, the next way is to use the number line to add by showing jumps. So you heard Mrs. Walker and I talk about where to start. The reason I didn't start at 0 is just because we usually don't do it that way, do we? We kind of skip that step because in our brains, we already know where we're starting and that 25 has already gone by, right? But sometimes we need that visualization. So you could either start here on the number 25 and just know in your head that from 0 to 25, 25 spaces has gotten past, right? Or you can start at 0 and you can hop to 25 and label that as 25 so that you know you're starting at 25. And then you're adding anything that comes after that number 25. So the 10 and the 3 equals that 13 inches that the plant grew after she bought it. And then you need to count to see where you land, and that's the answer for the total height of the plant now.
All right, so now look at the model. It's on the previous page, right? An addition equation you can use to solve the problem. So we already did this, right? We started with the equation, so we knew exactly what we were going to do. So now all we have to do is just write it. So we have to write 25 plus 13 equals question, because that's what we're trying to find. So that is our equation. Perfect.
Okay, so explain how the lines in the first model-it show the height of the plant when Sharon bought it and how much the plant grew. So we're looking at this one. How do the lines show the height of the plant when she bought it and how much it grew? Well, if you look at it carefully, the first line shows how tall the plant was when she
got it.
The second line shows how much the plant grew, right? Sorry, I gotta find where we are. Okay. So if we just use those same words, the first line shows how tall the plant was when she bought it. The second line shows how much it grew after she bought it.
Yep, perfect. And then of course the last one is how tall is the plant now? And we know that our plant was 38 inches because we figured that out on our first strategy. So nice job.
Okay. Number 5 says, Dave has a piece of string that is 41, bless you. Dave has a piece of string that is 41 centimeters long. He cuts off a piece that is 26 centimeters long. How much string is left? Show your work. Ooh. What do you think
about this?
All right, so I know that we said we were just doing addition. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna think about this problem backwards, okay? I'm gonna do my equation, but I'm gonna do it backwards. So how long is the piece of string?
41 centimeters.
41 centimeters. So I know that this string equals 41 centimeters, right?
Yep.
And I know at least one part of it. So I know that 26 plus something is going to equal 41. So you can do the same thing with a number bond if you needed to. You could draw that number bond. You know the big number is 41, right, friends?
Mhm.
You know where your signs go. And you know one part, which was 26.
Mhm.
What you don't know is this part right here. We've talked about before how adding on a number line is usually easier than subtracting on a number line. So if we say 26 plus question mark equals 41, that's going to help our brains because we're counting up instead of counting backwards. Okay,
Mhm.
so do we want to draw lines or do we want to hop, Mrs. Walker?
It doesn't matter. I
Can I
think we can.
Okay,
For
so
that.
I know that I want to start on the number 26 because that's the first number in my equation. I know that that's where I want to start. It's not labeled, so I'm going to come here and I'm going to label it 26.
Okay.
I don't know how many hops to take, but I do know where I'm going to end, right?
Mhm.
I'm going to end on 41 because that's how long the piece of string is.
Mhm.
Now, I know if I want to know the total length of the piece of string, I'm not just counting the hops, I'm actually starting at 0, right? So this 26 is part of the total length. But in my brain, I'm taking a shortcut and I'm just starting at 26. If you don't want to do that in your brain, you can make that hop first to start at 26, okay? Or you can just start at the number 26. All right, so I got to get to 41. I'm going to hop to the next 10 first.
Yep.
That's easier for my brain.
Which gets me 4.
Yep, which is 4 because I know my 10 partners.
Mhm.
Then I'm going to take a big hop as close to 41 as I can get by counting by 10. So if I just hop 1 10, I get to 40. Well, I know I can't get to 50 because I'll go past 41.
Mhm.
But I'm not there yet, so I still have to take one little baby hop to get to 41. And now I have to add these number partners together to get my answer. 4 plus 1 is 5, plus 10 equals 15.
15. Yep. And then we have to make sure we put cm for centimeters. Nice job.
You could also have drawn the lines, right? You could have said 26, and then you could have drawn another line to 41 and counted how many spaces that was.
Yep. Either way.
All right.
All right, so our next one says, Ellen's dog is 28 inches tall, and Nadine's dog is 17 inches taller than Ellen's dog. How tall is Nadine's dog? Show your work. Use the number line. So this time I think we should actually just draw our lines to show different instead of doing our hops. So we're going to start at 0 and go to 28 because that's how tall Ellen's dog is. So we know that. So that's our first step. But then in our second one, it says Nadine's dog is 17 inches taller. So does that mean we're getting bigger or smaller?
Bigger.
We're getting bigger. So now we have to draw 17 more, right? So we have to start at that 28 mark and we have to get to 17, right? So if we're going to get to 17, it's going to be, so I can do it in my head, right? Second graders, which helps. But if you can't, if you have to actually count them, right? Which is where doing the hops is easier probably. Or if you did standard algorithm first, right, to find your answer, that might be easier too. Again, another strategy for you to be able to use. So I know that my answer is 45, so I'm going to just draw my line clear to 45, right? Because I know that. But like Mrs. Croft's doing right now, she's counting her hops to make sure. So she went from 28 to 30, which got her 2. Then she went from 30 to 40, which got her 10. And then 40 to 45, which got her 5 more. If we add those up, 2 plus 5 is 7. 7 plus 10 is 17. So we know we went the distance that we needed to. And on this one, And we just need to say that our answer is 45 inches tall. And again, we showed our work by doing the number line, and then we just write out what the solution or our answer is to the problem. Perfect.
Okay, last one. Explain, so use words, how to use a number line to solve this problem. Gavin gets $20. Now he has $43. How much money did Gavin have at the start? Well, so if he has, we know one number and we know the big part, right? So if we had a number line, hold on, I'm just gonna put a letter in there because otherwise my text box will go away. I'm gonna draw. Here is my number line. I can't explain this problem without showing my work first. It's just hard for me. But I know that the big number is 43. And I know one part, and that's 20. Sorry, it's not pretty. That's okay. I don't know the missing part. But I know that I can add up to get to 43. So I'm going to start, or I'm going to end at 43. I'm going to start at 20. And my hops are going to be the answer. So if I wanted, I could take 2 big hops first. I'm going to count by 10 first, okay? So the first 10 would get me to 30. The second 10 would get me to 40. And then the last 3 would get me to 43. Sorry, it's not very pretty. So I have 10, 10, and 3. 10 plus 10 is 20, plus 3 more equals 23. So did I solve the problem? Okay. So now, if I wanted to use words to explain what I did, to tell us how much money he had at the start, well, he had $23 at the start, right? I would say this. I would say, start hopping at 20 to show the $20 that Gavin already has. Then make more jumps till you land on 43. Count the hops for your answer.
Yeah.
The answer is $23. Agreed?
Agreed. So now you're going to do your green pages, 625 and 626. Remember, you may do it either way that we just talked about. If it's easier for you to count your hops, make sure you do it that way. If you want to try it doing the other way we learned, the new strategy about drawing your lines first and then adding them together, that you can do too. Either way works. Good luck. We know you can do it.
All right. See you next time.